Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Valentine Lister, and this is my series on the minor arcana for the suit of swords. And today we are going to be covering the Five of Swords, and we're going to go deep into this card. We are going to learn the rulers of the card and go into the astrology of the card, which really helps you understand the meaning of the card in a way that you probably haven't before. And we're going to go into all of the symbolism that you need to know in the card, as well as the upright and the reversed meanings. All right, but before I get into it, I'm just going to make a quick announcement, a little plug for a reading with me. You can now get a discount if you want to get a birth chart reading or a tarot card reading, $20 off of your very first reading with me. And you can get that discount by going to my website, valentinelister.com. And when you book a reading, make sure to put in the code 20 bucks to get $20 off of your first reading. This offer is good until December 31st, 2021. Now, what do I offer? Well, I offer birth chart readings, tarot card readings. These are live Zoom sessions, one-on-one. So for a tarot card readings are better if you have like a specific question or concern and you want advice on the concern, and you want some specific guidance on it. With birth chart readings, they're better for getting an overall understanding of the pattern and the picture of your life, what the stars said that you were going to do in this life. So it's more in terms of what your fate or destiny is and what might be coming up for you. All right, so make sure to snag that discount. Anyway, let's get into the Five of Swords. All right, so the Five of Swords. So I gave this card a little nickname to help you understand it a little bit better, and I like to call this card Destructive Criticism. Okay, so I'm going to get straight into the rulers of this card because it will really help you understand it. So, and this comes from astrology. Okay, so astrology and tarot are like two peas in a pod. One influences the other, and actually tarot more so came from ancient astrology. So these are the rulers of the card. Why? Because the Five of Swords is ruled by Venus in Aquarius. And so we can visualize this and think about it as these major arcana rulers are major life things, but they also represent deities and how they show up to us. So the Empress is the card for Venus, representing Venus, and the star card is the card representing Aquarius. So Venus, we'd have the goddess Venus wearing the costume. She's going through the stars and wearing the costume of Aquarius, which is the star card. And so why do we have the Five of Swords? Well, because Venus in Aquarius, this is how it would show up in everyday life. And I'll get a little bit more into this when I get into the hidden symbolism. But before I go on, I just wanted to tell, if for my astrologers, this is the Five of Swords represents the first decan of Aquarius. Also, if you want this all written down for you, I already wrote it down. Put your pen down. Don't write on that notepad, okay? I have a document where I wrote all of this out for you, super organized, super clear, super neat. It's called the Tarot and Astrology Cheat Sheet. So I have that link in the description box below for you, and you can get the Tarot and Astrology Cheat Sheet as a thank you for signing up for my mailing list. Okay, so this is a card that took me a long time to get. And I really got it by started pulling it and started recording what happened in my tarot journal. So my interpretation of it is going to be a little different, and it's really even evolved since I did that simple way to understand the swords video. So I came up with that nickname, Destructive Criticism, but I find that this Five of Swords is really a response to destructive criticism, and even a Venus or love response to destructive criticism. And I'll explain what I mean as I go on. So first, with the major arcana rulers, I like to see how it shows up in the card, but we really don't have a clear picture of that. When we look at the Five of Swords, it's not really clear how the Empress and the Star show up, and it confuses a lot of people. So all the books I went through, I like to double check what I think of the card and what I think it means with the resources I have. I have resources in the description of my references. I also research online too as well. And surprisingly, Wikipedia is actually an excellent source to find history on these cards, which is really, really surprising to me. So I think it'll be helpful to give you some background of Venus, like with Aquarius. So first of all, in tarot, Venus is already here in the star card, like right here. This is Venus, like hanging out naked. And she's like, this is the grounded and fertile Venus, which is very much her, very much sensual. And she represents sexuality and like fertility. And so in the star card, she is coming like, from heaven. So she's bringing ideas like from the celestial realm of heaven down to earth. So she's getting info from Earth and making Earth more pleasant and giving humanity some hope, giving, humanity some hope in the beauty of the world. Also, the star card represents Aquarius, and Aquarius is traditionally ruled by Saturn. So I'm a traditional astrologist. I'm bringing in that Hellenistic astrology, and guess what? If I didn't, you would be like I wouldn't know about these traditional rulers, and I wouldn't even know what exists if I didn't go by traditional. But that's a rant for another day. I'm going traditional. So Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn is the god who understands like the harsh realities of life and teaches us how to protect ourselves to survive and thrive. So just that little background. So Venus is already here, but also Venus does really well with Saturn. So if you think of the sign of Saturn, Saturn is exalted in Libra, which is the sign of Venus. And Venus actually does pretty well in the signs, of Saturn and vice versa. All right, so let's bring it to this Five of Swords, which is what you came for, okay? So we can see already, just looking at, if you just even looked at the card by itself, you can see that there's some strife going on here because we have these really jagged, like zigzag clouds, and they're gray. So gray represents wisdom. So here we have some harsh wisdom, like a storm. It's harsh wisdom, but it's in this like blue sky. Like there's blue, right, of the sky, and sky represents compassion, right? Mental clarity. So harshness that's compassionate is something that we can already see in the Five of Swords. And it is an aspect that represents Venus and Aquarius. So if you know someone with Aquarius placements, this concept probably makes complete sense to you. Like, I love like my friends like who are Aquarius suns, but also like have Aquarius placements. Like what they say can be like really harsh and jarring, and you're like, whoa, it does feel like they cut you with a sword sometimes. Like with their words, you're like, whoa, you came on a little strong. However, like what I found is like it's generally in a loving spirit and it's playful and it's engaging. Like Aquarius is a very like social sign with the people that they're close to and they know. And so it's like, I don't know, it's like harsh, but you love them anyway, kind of a little like reminds me of like Oscar the Grouch, in like Sesame Street, which I used to watch. Like, Oscar was so crabby, but like I loved Oscar anyway. And there was like, like I don't think he's on anymore because people are like, oh, he's too negative, but I'm like, bring him back, there's a place for that. And then there's the love for like the grouchy guy who's the outsider, but really secretly down, like maybe has a lot of love in his heart. Anyway, so we see here with the swords that like, so it looks like there was a fight or some kind of sparring going on. So here's what I noticed besides this fight. I noticed that these swords are coming down from heaven, right? One sword is reaching up to the heavens, right? And so you can even think of Venus, like she is coming from the heavens and bringing this water down to earth. So I'm looking at these swords and going like, these swords are reaching up to the heavens. Then we continue on to the other hand and we have this other sword that this guy is holding, touching the ground and being super grounded. So like, again, like the star card, taking knowledge from the heavens and using it to ground themselves. So there is this aspect of Aquarius that's connected to the higher minds. The higher mind's actually represented by like this little bird in the star card. And it can pick up on like what the collective is thinking, like the pool, right? So we have the pool here, and we even have the pool back here in this card. And so an aspect of Aquarius is that they're generally like tuned into like what people are thinking as far as a group and like kind of what a lot of people need. And just so, and they somehow just get the thoughts in their minds, like they're there. So it's not like, I mean, I don't know if like, I haven't really actually like went deep with an Aquarius, like asked them these questions, right? But my thought is like a lot of times, like with if we have a particular zodiac sign, we just do things naturally and we don't even like think about them. And so, like, you know, if you have a lot of Aquarius placements, maybe you might at first think it's like so natural to pick up on what everybody's thinking and to know like what people need, and that's not necessarily true, because if you're like the opposite, like a Leo or a fire sign, like you're very connected to what you know is true, and the self, and connected to yourself, like knowing yourself, but you may not as much be like connected to that group. So Aquarius is connected to the group and they just know things, so maybe like that's sometimes why like they're connected to like, you know, this thought of like aliens or like psychic knowing or all of these things, because they somehow know, like it's not like they know these things because people tell them, they just happen to know them like intuitively. They know what people need before they do it sometimes. So if you're an Aquarius, give me some insight on what your experiences have been and if that, like, if what I'm saying is true. So I'd love to know. Anyway, so the grounded feet makes me think of also like Venus's feet here, like being grounded, and one's like on this side, one's on this side. And so in this sword two, I'm looking at these clothes, right? Which gives me another hint. So this guy is wearing like green, the color of fertility, and red, which is like the symbol of like passion and desire, and then this like orangey color, which is like energy and enthusiasm. But what I notice is like, okay, there's green here, like, which is like this in the symbol of Venus. Then this guy is wearing the colors of her couch. So is this Venus? Is this the main character? Like that's who Venus is? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so, because he kind of is representing the colors of the couch. That's like where my mind goes. And then we have these swords on the ground, right, protecting this guy. So Aquarius, like this guy, feels protected and nurtured by ideas. So why does this guy need protection? Well, because we live in a world that can tear us down with that destructive criticism, right? The world can tear us down with words and criticize us, criticize our ideas and what we think. But Aquarius knows that their ideas and mind is sacred, and they will protect it. They're going to think what they think, and they're going to let their minds be free to say what they truly think, no matter what. And that's how they protect themselves. So again, this card is not destructive criticism itself. It's the reaction to it and the need to protect our own ideas, and seeing the love and beauty in protecting our own ideas. We have this like Venus in Aquarius, the Venus aspect, and also finding pleasure in defending what we think and having the freedom to really believe and say what we want, and also loving that other people do that, and loving like people who are quirky or different or outsiders in some way. So again, like Aquarius will cut down communication and ideas that infringe on their freedom to think for themselves and live by their own ideas. So they'll do this by either by fighting with and like having harsh words with people, which can polarize people and make them go away, or they could isolate themselves so they don't have to deal with other people like infringing on their ideas. So I want to get back to my thought. I said, this guy looks like the couch. So I was like, who is really Venus, right? So then I'm looking at, and Venus has this golden head, right? She has this golden hair, looks like the star, yellow. She has a golden globe, golden crown of stars, golden hair. So who's got the golden head in the Five of Cups? Not this guy, this guy. This guy right here, walking to this guy crying. And so this is something I noticed like when I had pulled the card, because it just popped out to me, and it did represent like my day kind of, that like this guy is walking to the guy who's crying and has some compassion here, right? And we have yellow here. He has yellow on, like the wisdom of the soul. And he's got green, fertility and pure feet, like grounded in purity. And so looking at the Empress card, Venus, she's associated with the nurturing and caring for and creating pleasure for others. And she has this like mothering energy. So a lot of times people don't think of Venus as the mother. They might think of the moon as the mother. But Venus very much is a mother. She had children. Venus does represent this nurturing energy, which makes things like calm and pleasurable, doing fun things with your kids, making their environment nice and pretty, and even like decorating the house for the holidays would be like a Venus activity. So the guy in the back, let's get back to this. The guy in the back is like the color of wheat, right? I don't know if you could see on here, right? He is like yellow, which I don't think you can see on the camera as much as like in person on this card, but he's the color of yellow. So this guy is kind of like wheat, the color of wheat, like the farmer's crop, like the wheat that Venus is growing in this card. And so like the farmer's crop, she's going to help him grow. Like this is Venus in Aquarius too, like representing, right? So she's going to maybe like go back and water him with beautiful ideas, or if he's been hurt, she's going to show him how special he is and that it's okay with it. And it's okay that he's different. It's beautiful that he has a unique perspective to offer, and it's amazing, and it's okay to be different, and it's okay to not be part of the group, and that is beautiful, and it's okay to love that. And since she's a goddess, she's going to show up just at the right place and the right time when it's needed with troubled water. Sometimes with Aquarius, unless you're super close to them, you're like, where are they? And then they do have a tendency to show up right when you need them. You know, like they have a sense of when you really need them. So Venus in Aquarius representing the love for the outsider, the love for unique ideas, quirky people, and the freedom to think and say what you believe. Oh, also the other thing I just want to point out before we get into the numerology is the heads. Look at the heads. Okay, so the fighter here, his head is out of the water, and so is Venus here, right? Well, I'm thinking this is Venus and Aquarius. Their heads are out of the water, and I'm thinking like this guy has even been helped by Venus already and is feeling good, and that's why he's looking over at this guy with a smile on his face. And this person here, right, the wheat is under the water, so maybe being lost in the emotions. And one aspect of Aquarius and Venus and Aquarius that can be really nice is having a really solid and objective perspective that doesn't get so boggled and weighed down by emotions, but can see above them and see things like super neutrally. And so that can help at times, right, to get someone out of like a dark space when they're lost in their emotions, to like come back and feel like a groundedness in how they think. All right, so the numerology of this card, so it's associated with the number 5, and 5 represents freedom, instability, and change. A roller coaster ride, stress and instability can be too much to handle, but can also indicate excitement, adventure, and movement. So it's a challenging place if you hate change. Okay, so the upright meaning. So like I said earlier, I learned like most about this card by pulling it. And so my experience has been that when I pull this card, I end up having like these like synchronous experiences, especially with my husband, and it really helps to grow like this love. Like, so like if, for example, like multiple times, like I'll say like, oh, let's do this or let's do that. It's happened like literally like 3 times, enough where my husband was like, something is going on. And he responded, I was just thinking that. And how did you know that? And then we felt like super in love and connected. So again, don't ignore the Venus in this card. Like Venus in Aquarius is like, does rule this card, and it is very incorporated into the meaning of this card. So it's love through our ideas and ability to share what we know with others. So it could be romantic love or just being in the right place or right time to help somebody else. with some knowledge that you have, or nurture them, or find pleasure, like create pleasure through ideas and just saying what you think. And synchronicity, like just being at the right place and right time, is a huge aspect of the Aquarius ruled cards in the swords 5, 6, and 7. So there's something about Aquarius where they like intuitively know like what people mean. Um, Also, another interpretation of this card, like you could bring this up and it may mean a struggle because it is related to Saturn. So it could be related, right, to the harsh difficulties of life when it relates to beauty and pleasure, and, you know, feeling like you're not like like you're not like feeling bad about yourself because you don't fit in and you don't like embody like the like most popular expression of beauty like these days, and like you can't fit in and you have your own ideas of what you think are beautiful and you think you're an outsider. And so this card is letting you know to embrace that about yourself and to love that about yourself and find pleasure. And to also know that eventually, a lot of times with Aquarius, the thing is like the way that we do things, like even when it comes to love or beauty or pleasure, like expressing ourselves, our relationships, is a lot of times that like it's slow moving. Saturn is a very slow moving planet. And so in Aquarius, it's more like ideas, like you're not able to implement your ideas of what you think is beautiful or how you want to present yourself or the type of relationship that you really want to have. You don't have that yet. Like that takes time to develop because the thing you want hasn't even been created yet. Like it will be created, or maybe you're going to be creating it and influencing people. But a lot of times it's like you can't have it now because it's something that's developing like in our society and will be there in the future. But it's not quite there yet. So it takes time to be able to see your vision through when it comes to these Aquarius cards and the Five of Swords, with being able to feel accepted or able to feel comfortable in your own skin with your ideas of beauty or relationships or pleasure, or the way you nurture and care for other people, or maybe even being a mother with the, you know, like I said, Venus can have that aspect. So it may just take time and just work on accepting yourself for your unique self and who you are and loving that. And the Tarot Journal, I definitely recommend. I'll put a link to the video here so that you can get to know these cards for yourself and develop your own relationship and understanding of them. So the reverse meaning of this card, so it means that the energy is blocked or being avoided from like kind of being expressed outwards. So that could be, it could mean like with the swords, like inner reflection on ideas, like writing, contemplation, like thinking about ways to share like your ideas of beauties or connecting with people in relationships. Like perhaps your timing is off with like sharing ideas or connecting with your loved ones, or connecting with your partner in your relationship. Like maybe your ideas don't land as smoothly or they don't come out as clearly, like at the right time. Could be like dealing with difficult thoughts about yourself and like feeling like the outsider or not accepted by others. And working on that part of you, or maybe things aren't going like there's that inner reflection of maybe things aren't going the way you want them in your relationship, and things are going wrong, but you know that being patient and working on loving yourself is important, even with like the bad experiences. So just because it comes out reversed doesn't mean like this card is necessarily bad. It just means that like objectively maybe like some of the things don't look that great, but you may be reflecting on it and thinking about it in a different way. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this video on the Five of Swords. This is just a reminder that if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for when I release my next video, which will be on the Six of Swords. Also, make sure to share out this video if you found value in it. Share the wealth. Also, if you want to catch up on the videos that I've already done, make sure to check out this playlist that I'm going to put here for you on the Minor Arcana, as well as a related video up here. And make sure to check out, I do a weekly tarot and astrology forecast every Sunday, so make sure to check that out as well. All right, love you guys so much. Take care, bye. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified for whenever I release a new video every single week.